Okay, this is a reaction video to Lost in the Pond. Seven things America does really well. I'm kind of curious to see what we do really well. I really am because apparently we do a lot of things crappy, a lot more things crappy. But let's see what seven things we do really well.
It feels like you're living the dream while also escaping the feds. Hello, I'm Lawrence. I'm from Britain and I live in the United States, and anybody that's seen my channel before will know that I absolutely love living here. Now, don't get me wrong, I do have feelings about the things that America doesn't do quite so well, just as I'm aware of Britain's shortcomings. But I'm an optimist, and amid all of the criticisms that might be thrown at America, I often think it's important to remind myself of the things that America does well. I think amid the pandemic of the last 2 years and this sort of political division that's engulfed the country, it can be easy for us to lose sight of those details, those things that have made my stay in the United States an enjoyable one. So I'm going to outline some of them right here, right now, so that you can share this video from now until the end of time. Here are 7 things that the United States of America does really well.
Yeah, we do good pizza. My personal favorite of pizza is down in Indialantic, Florida. It's a place called Bizarro's on the beach. You can get a good slice of pizza. I think it's $3.50. Damn good pizza.
Yes, it's a little bit of a cliche because, everybody loves pizza. Even back in Britain, we like pizza, just not as much as we do in America. I lived in Britain for 26 years. I've lived in America for 14, and I've probably had 100 times more pizzas since moving here. And on the whole, America does them really well. I'm sure the Italians won't thank me for saying that, and I'll caveat that by saying I do also love Italian pizza. I just love pizza in general. That's sort of a rule, isn't it? But America has many different styles, and of course I live in Chicago, so
deep dish, New York style, Detroit style. So yeah,
I am living in the place where one of its most famous pizzas was born. And if I'm in the mood and I haven't eaten in 3 days, a Chicago deep dish pizza is amazing. But, and this is the reason that I don't go out onto the streets of Chicago anymore, I actually prefer the Detroit style. I know, because the thing is with Detroit style, it's like Hufflepuff. Everybody thinks they're either Gryffindor.
Yeah, it's square. It's, or rectangular, not square.
Or Slytherin, but I'm a contrarian by nature, so I always like to go for the third option. For me, it's not New York style or Chicago, it's Detroit. I promise that not all of my answers are about food, but I felt like I had to include this one. Not many things beat the feeling of waking up on a Sunday morning and making that decision to go to your local diner and have breakfast.
Yeah, that's another good thing. On Saturday morning, my family gets together and we go to our diner called Fitzy's, and it's a really, it's something that we Americans do real well. They're good food. I've never been disappointed by it. So yeah, diners.
For me, there's just a significant amount of warmth that comes with an American diner. It's the early morning chatter, it's the pour of the coffee, it's the omelettes and the hash browns, it's the seating booth, it's all of it. It just makes up for such a great atmosphere. And, we do have, of course, cafeterias and things like that back in Britain, but we don't really have anything that's precisely the same as an American diner, which is sort of a shame because they also remind me of adventure, right? I always think of 2 film characters meeting in secret to plot the overthrow of the villain who's come to annihilate the city. That's why I go to diners.
Well, it's not why I go to diners, but yeah, diners are very, very nice. Very, something America does really well.
Streets. This might seem like a weird answer, especially since, of course, we have streets in Britain. And to some extent, I miss the streets in Britain. There's character to the winding nature of them, and you can very much get lost just looking for the post office. Here, it feels like you're less likely to do that, and the orderly side of my brain appreciates that. Streets, firstly, of course, are laid out usually in blocks, so you have kind of rectangular streets. This is very much in line with my observations of America's fascination with rectangles. But it's not just that, right? It's the things that are on the street. Those fire hydrants that you see in the movies, it turns out they're real. And the house numbers seem to go on forever. It almost seemed peculiar back in Britain if the house number...
That is a strange one to say that America does really well streets, because America's streets are generally pretty good, but they also need repair more often than not. But yeah, streets, I've never been to England, so I don't know how their streets, situation is, but Yeah, America does do streets well. I'd have no problem driving around.
But went into 4 digits. I don't know that I've had an American address that's had fewer than 3. Are there any Americans that live at, number 4 Washington Street? Oh, and streets as well. They're all named after presidents or places in America or types of tree. And I just love that continuity. I love saying things like, I'll meet you on the corner of Maplewood and Jefferson in 5. And there are always people walking their dogs on these streets. And
that's true. That's one thing you'll definitely see a lot of in America, especially drive through the suburbs, is a lot of people walking their dogs.
Usually super polite, and they'll look you in the eye and say, good morning. It's afternoon. I really couldn't have made this list without including entertainment. I mean, obviously...
Yeah, we do entertainment very well. And there's no question about that. Some of the better movies I've seen have been made in the United States or made by Americans. Not to say I haven't seen any good movies made abroad. One of my favorite movies that I remember, first time I ever saw a foreign film was a movie called it was translated to Soldier of Orange with Rutger Hauer. Really good movie. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, America does a lot of good movies. A lot of good entertainment, not just movies. A lot of good plays, a lot of good musical acts as well.
Obviously, that's quite a broad term, but I think in general terms, very few countries do entertainment like the United States. Firstly, I mean, America produces so much entertainment. You could be talking about music, television, film, and in each of those, there's just such a vast array of output. Now, don't get me wrong, some of it's crap. But when they get it right, which historically has been often, you end up with The Wizard of Oz, you end up with Star Wars, you end up with the Marvel franchise, Quantum Leap. I could go on.
Or Godfather, or I agree with that. The United States does entertainment very well.
Wrestling. I thought about including...
Now, I did a video about, from World According to Briggs. He said 10 things Americans do better than European, or that's better than here than over there. And yeah, theme parks or amusement parks are probably something that the United States does very, very well.
Including this under entertainment, but it seems as though theme parks deserve their own entry. That was a pun on entering a theme park.
I think we got it.
Now, over the years, Britain has had its fair share of theme parks, from Alton Towers to Flamingo Land to the M25, but America just has more of them. And of course, I think everybody knows about Disneyland and Disney World and Universal Studios and all of that. But after moving here, I realized, much to my intense happiness, that theme parks aren't just reserved for Florida and California, but can actually be found in many states. I think the first one I went to was Kings Island.
Yeah, that Kings Island is about 90 minutes south of me. And there was a roller coaster there that I'm sure it still works, called the Beast, which was a lot of fun. Probably first roller coaster I went on that actually scared the hell out of me. Not the first roller coaster I'd ever been on. I'd been on a roller coaster out in California I went to a place called Magic Mountain, and Magic Mountain was used as, in the movie Vacation, it was used as Wally World. I was never scared on those roller coasters at Magic Mountain, but the one at Kings Island, the first time I got on the Beast, that scared the hell out of me.
Outside of Cincinnati. And I also went to Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana, and yes, that's a real place. And the strange thing is, I didn't go on many of the roller coasters because I have this overwhelming feeling that we're going to crash. So you might be thinking, what do you even get out of theme parks? And to me, it's the atmosphere. It's the balloons, it's the movie scores that play throughout the entire place. It's the hot summer days, it's the interns dressed in a Yogi Bear costume. Come to think of it, that must be hell in July. But for the rest of us, it's great to meet Yogi and friends. People who watch this channel regularly...
Yeah, parks. He's not talking about amusement parks here. He's just talking about regular parks.
You know that I absolutely love parks, partly for the opposite reason that I love theme parks, which now that I've said that out loud, I've just realised that theme parks are themselves parks.
They are, but a little bit of a different animal. You're not paying an arm and a leg to get into a park like you are a theme park.
Anyway, the point is, it's the relative absence of people that makes them so enjoyable. This was even the case for me when I lived in Britain, where we have a boatload of parks, some of which have boats. But just like with theme parks, America has way more of them. And some of them are absolutely massive. There's one in Alaska that is larger than Northern Ireland and Wales combined. In fact, back in the day, I did a video about US national parks that absolutely dwarf their UK equivalents. I'll link to that at the end of this video. And there's sort of a hierarchy of parks here as well. You've got the sort of local...
This is like, yeah.
Municipal parks, you've got state parks, you've got national parks. Spoil for choice because the United States is made up of a very diverse terrain.
Yeah, I mean, like in New York, you have Central Park, which is a big, giant Park, and yeah, there's a whole slew of parks that you can go to in the United States. There's more than 50 or 60, I think, in Columbus, Ohio, where I live alone. So there's a whole bunch of parks.
So you've got the hot springs at Yellowstone National Park. You've got the tree-laden mountains of...
And yeah, you have national parks. You mentioned Yellowstone. But yeah, there's just so many parks.
Great Smoky Mountains National Park. You've got the Grand Canyon and just 100 million other places. That is an exaggeration. But there's a lot of them. And of course...
And yeah, road trips are something that every American has done. Last time I did a road trip or at least a road trip of any that really long, was about 30 years ago. Normally when I go someplace, I fly. But road trips are big in the United States. Well, take that back. Even though I flew out to out west, I flew into Denver, but I drove all the way up through Wyoming and Montana and South Dakota. I think we did 1,500 miles. So I did a road trip last year. So let me correct myself on that.
Of course, you could fly to these places, although not directly. You'd have to go to an airport. But really, let's be honest, does that beat a good old American road trip? I don't think so. I love the open road in the US, and, some of that...
And I tell you, driving through Wyoming, where there's just so much undeveloped land, it is amazing just being able to go, 90, 100 miles an hour and hardly anybody be out on the road and feel perfectly safe.
That comes from the movies. It's just like with the diner. It feels like you're living the dream.
Oh, by the way, if you ever go to see a movie in Los Angeles where the guy is driving LA with the top down and, his hand and going 80 miles an hour down the highway, that's all fiction. If you go to ever fly into Los Angeles and think you're going to just drive on the open road like that, you're out of your mind. You're going to be in traffic jams all day long,
while also escaping the feds. And you just stick on Billy Joel or something cool, you wind down the window and you just hit the gas, man. Not the gas man, you hit the gas, man.
Got it.
Man. It's amazing. And that open road, of course, really is open and long, with some highways spanning the entire country. And you see things on these journeys that you don't see from the air, and you certainly wouldn't see in Britain, like quirky roadside attractions, especially when you're on a historic...
Can't say I like the Manchester United logo on that jacket you're on, but okay, fair enough. Have to teach their own. But yeah, there's Abraham Lincoln sitting on a covered wagon I guess he's reading a book.
Route, or the terrain that I just spoke about. And taking road trips in Britain was never quite the same thing, because firstly, the country is nowhere near as big, and secondly, in the UK, you can get to most towns and cities by train, which is equally adventurous. But
yeah, that's the one thing I know about Europe. When I was in Germany, I wasn't in England, but in Germany, that most places you don't really need a car to get around.
Can't really do that for the most part in America because there isn't high-speed rail. That's an example of something it doesn't do too well. So I've learned to embrace one of the things that it does, and that's road trips. That is it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below some of the things that you think America does well. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond.
Yeah, at least like and subscribe, Lost in the Pond, as well as my channel. Click like, share, and subscribe. I found this quite interesting. Those are things that I guess we do pretty well. Can't argue with any of them. I enjoy his Lawrence's videos, and like I said, please click like, share, and subscribe. You have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching my video.